Hello and welcome to a special Halloween episode of Straight Talking Sport. I'm John Winchester and joining me today is Ryan Hodge.
All right.
Grant Elliott.
Hello.
And Kieran Pick.
Hi.
Ryan, Grant and Kieran will be debating Halloween sport-themed topics that they are yet to hear for points decided by myself. So let's get started. Ryan, which sportsman would you least like to see on your doorstep trick-or-treating?
Off the top of my head, I'd probably have to go for Mike Tyson. If there was anyone I'd want to avoid, it'd probably be a boxer or someone who competes in fighting, a physical sport. Mike Tyson, obviously his nickname was the baddest man on the planet. Not just a great heavyweight champion in the world, he also bit the ear of Evander Holyfield during a world title fight. I'd like to avoid him at all costs.
Grant, who do you think?
I'm going to go for Roy Keane. You know, always battered players around on the pitch. I mean, he ended a player's career and he held a grudge for a year. I mean, any person that holds a grudge for a year, you know, they've got to be a bit
loony.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I'd probably go for Roy Keane. You know, always forcing refs to change decisions. You know, refs are scared of him. Just that look, I think, just that look that he has can change opinions.
Kieran, what about you? Who do you think?
I'm going for the French rugby player Sébastien Chabal, the tall. I think he's retired now, but he had a massive black beard and quite long hair, and he was really tall. And I remember a couple of years ago watching England. Every time he started running at an England player, I would fear for that player. So the last thing I'd want to do is open the door and see him trying to get something from me.
Well, after those first three points made, I'd say Kieran has a very strong point because rugby players, they're intimidating, aren't they? But
what about boxers who can knock someone out with one punch?
I was gonna.
Yeah, you got football players. Roy Keane ended someone's career.
He's made his decision now.
I'm going through everyone's point just so you know. Roy Keane, like I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of him, as you say. You know, if he was held a grudge against you, I'd probably fear for my life. Mike Tyson, he's prepared to bite you though, so I think on the face of it, I'm gonna have to award the first point to Ryan.
Oh, he's changed there.
Oh,
Nah.
boo.
I feel sorry for Kieran.
You can't boo the presenter.
So the second question I'm going to ask the panel is, what is the worst sporting injury that they've ever seen? We're going to start with Grant.
I would have to say Djibril Cissé breaking his leg for Liverpool. I mean, it wasn't just a standard break. I mean, if you look at it, his foot actually bent all the way around up to his knee. And then it was a long recovery for him, obviously. And then, of course, a short while after that, he broke his leg again playing for France. And, the same thing happened again. His foot actually bent all the way up round to his knee again. I mean, to come back from two horrific injuries like that, all credit to him. But, yeah, I'd say Djibril Cissé.
So, Kieran, what do you think?
Well, no, it's a bit of a struggle. I mean, without trying to influence you, John, being an F1 fan, I'm going for Felipe Massa's injury a couple of years ago. When he was driving behind Barrichello's car, and the spring broke off of Barrichello and bounced into Massa. And I think he was only millimetres away from brain damage and possibly worse. And he was very lucky to get out of that. And to return to driving as well is a similar achievement to Cissé, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm not being swayed by you saying I'm an F1 expert, but let's move on to Ryan. Who do you think?
This is a little-known injury to those who don't follow figure skating and ice skating. A Canadian figure skater by the name of Jessica Dubé was competing in pairs with her male partner, and they were spinning on one blade each, and the blade that was in the air for her male partner, it made contact just under the eyelid of Jessica Dubé. It slit her eyelid right open. She collapsed immediately. Obviously, obviously you can't see it right now. It is a horrific injury. Thankfully, her sight is okay. She's got obviously a scar. But the instant impact of the injury, a lot of people were shocked and horrified when they saw just how bad the contact between blade and skin was. And thankfully, her sight is perfect, or as good as it can be.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to award this point to Grant because of his description of the Cisse incident. Obviously, injuries aren't great for any person in any sport, but unfortunately, they are part of sports nowadays. So let's move on to the next topic, and we're going to ask Kieran, who is the most fearsome sports team in your opinion?
Well, I've got two. I'm gonna go for cricket. The Australian side from the early 2000s, when they have Hayden, Langer, Gilchrist, Ponting, and that's just the batting. You know, bowling wise, they've got legends of McGrath, Shane Warne, Lee, Gillespie, and as they were, for a young cricket fan, they were as fearsome as it gets. You knew every time England stepped onto the pitch against Australia, it was going to be a massive task to get any kind of result. Fortunately, from England's perspective, it's no longer like that, and we quite enjoy playing Australia.
Okay, so Ryan, who is your most fearsome sports team?
They don't compete too often because of the fact it's merely a collaborative team. The Harlem Globetrotters. If you have a team based around the best players of one sport, the NBA is a great league. There's many talents in it, and to have a team assembled of the top stars playing against, they won't be playing against teams of the same quality because of the quality that they possess. They'll be against teams that they may have a few star players of their own, but they won't be of the level of the Harlem Globetrotters. I mean, they're going to get teams that play the Harlem Globetrotters. Okay, it's only exhibition matches and it's not competitive. They'll get absolutely annihilated. You can't really ask for much more than a team of the best, and that's what the Harlem Globetrotters truly are.
Okay, and Grant, who in your opinion is the most fearsome sports team?
I would have to go for the All Blacks, the New Zealand rugby team. I mean, the tribal dance that they do at the beginning of any match just intimidates them straight away. I mean, when you watch teams they play against, like, for instance, Australia and England, when you watch them, you can tell by the look on their faces that they are frightened about what is going to happen in this match. I wouldn't say any particular time period. I would just say any time New Zealand come onto the rugby field, you can see intimidation, and I definitely wouldn't want to go up against them.
Okay, well, I'm going to award this point to Kieran because the Australian cricket team of that era was one of the most dominant cricket teams that we've ever seen, especially in our lifetimes, I'd say. So that point's going to Kieran. So it's all to play for, and into the final question, and that question is, what sport would you be most afraid to try? I'm going to throw this open to Ryan.
For a number of reasons, I would not like to try ice hockey. One, I can't ice skate. Two, the fights they get into are just insane sometimes, let alone do they have, all this, the footwear, the steel blades. Thankfully, they don't use them as weapons as such, but they got hockey sticks, helmets. They're throwing punches left, right and centre, ramming them into the barricades. I am not a thick guy. I'm a tall guy, but I'm not particularly well built, so I don't think I'd last 2 seconds playing NHL or competitive ice hockey.
Okay, what about you, Grant?
I would have to say MMA. Not just UFC, but all types of MMA. I mean, I wouldn't want to be locked in a cage with someone who's about 200, 300 pounds, especially the heavyweights. I mean, you look at people like Rampage Jackson, and you look at Ken Shamrock and Brock Lesnar through the years. I mean, you do not want to be stuck in a Kimura lock. For those of you who don't know what that is, it is like a chicken wing. They have your arm, and they can basically snap it at any time that they wish. Anything goes near enough in that sort of environment, and it's not something you really want to be in unless you are talented like a Brock Lesnar.
Okay, and Kieran, finally, what about you?
Wheelchair rugby I'm going for. I didn't really watch it before the Olympic Games, but that's a vicious sport. It sounds fairly brutal. I challenge anyone listening to watch it now, and you'll be stunned by the dramatic collisions that get involved. I think I've read somewhere it's nicknamed or labelled like a war sport, and anything with that kind of label you have to take a bit seriously.
So the winner of the final point is Ryan, because he explained ice hockey. He showed that ice hockey is very daunting, and so that means the winner of this week is Ryan.
Thank you.
And commiserations to Grant and Kieran, who
Unlucky,
both ended on a
losers.
point. And that wraps up this week's episode of Straight Talking Sport. Please join us again next week. You can follow us all on Twitter. I am at JohnWin51. Ryan is
At Ryan J Hodge.
Grant is
At GDE93.
and Kieran is.
At the Kieran Pick.
You can send us an email at straighttalkingsport@gmail.com. You can leave a comment, subscribe, rate, like, do whatever you like. And we'll see you all next time. Thank you very much and bye.
Bye.